Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we begin today, I want to point out something that I never thought would actually happen. Jay Johnson and I actually agree about something. The former secretary and I actually agree that there is a crisis on our southern border. And by doing so, we actually agree that we need to do something about it. Unfortunately, as we saw in the first quarter of this committee, we're starting the second quarter of this committee off in the same vein, and that is desperately searching for something on the president. When we understand this, then we begin to look. Because instead of dealing with issues that this committee is authorized and should be dealing with, we're moving on to subpoenas, and that for several reasons I cannot support. The first, the subpoena for the Mueller report and its underlying evidence commands the Attorney General to do really what the unthinkable is. Remember, this is something to remind folks. The Starr report and the Mueller investigation were not under the same authorization. We keep conflating that around here. They were not. And this is why we need to understand this. Basically what we're now saying is we're going to break and asking the Attorney General to break his regulations to break the law. The Attorney General's entire mandate is to enforce the law, and he's expressly forbidden from providing grand jury outside the department in a very limited and narrow exceptions. Congress is not one of the exceptions, and the chairman knows it, and I would disagree with his characterization. I respect my chairman, but I'll disagree with his characterization of the Starr report because they're under different regulations. They were put out and sent out, but when it came to grand jury material, it was material that by law must be kept secret. It's grand jury material. It represents statements which may or may not be true by various witnesses. I wish many would understand that. Salacious material, all kinds of material that would be unfair to release. Those are not Doug Collins' words. Those are my chairman's words. This was at a time in which this is not a new idea. Right now, the only thing is there's a hope against hope that we're going to find something. It was just actually said, we need to start now so we can begin to go down to the courtroom because we know we're not going to find anything. And even if it did, and I love the comment just a moment ago that there may be, and I love how we do this, may be things in there that is not for up to the Attorney General to decide right or wrong. It was not. It was Mueller's investigation that the Attorney General passed on. Here's what we found. This is the problem we're seeing right now. But you know something? A different political landscape compels the chairman to adopt new standards of fairness, ignoring existing law and demanding material he once considered unfair to be released. As much as the chairman and I may want to view this material, it is fundamental underpinning of our justice system, and the law we cannot. In the face of laws and rules he finds inconvenient, the chairman demands our nation's top law enforcement officer to break the rules and the regulations and the law. This is reckless, it's irresponsible, and it's disingenuous. It's also confusing since the Attorney General is doing exactly what he said he would be doing, making as much of the report public as possible under federal law and departmental policy, under regulations, understand this for the media here today, under regulations written by Janet Reno and other Democrats don't require him to do this but in the name of transparency, he is. He may even furnish us the report as early as next week, yet the chairman plows ahead. What's the rush? Spring break, probably. We don't want to wait till May. We don't want to wait till the report comes out. The Attorney General has never said he's not going to provide exactly what the regulations say he's to provide. Why are we doing this again? Because I guess we're going out of town and we don't want anybody to forget we're doing something. We need a press release. We need to name people. The interesting thing here is, second, the subpoenas in this wonderfully vague deal that we're voting on today, aimed at 5 individuals, are completely misguided. Quite simply, they're to the wrong people. Understand what I'm getting ready to tell you. 2 of the individuals are cooperating with the ill-advised investigation. Remember the 81 letters? Have provided over 3,000 pages of documents. The chairman is rewarding their cooperation by announcing their subpoenas before even notifying their lawyers. The other 3 individuals responded to Chairman Nadler's initial inquiry and have indicated willingness to cooperate. Democrats never followed up with their lawyers either. In fact, my investigators have had more contact with some of the individuals on the 81 initial letters than the majority has. These 3 individuals could not have any documents responsive to the original request because those responsive documents all came during their time at the White House, making them presidential records. None of these 3 have custody of responsive documents. The chairman knows this as well because they have received letters on this. Why would we ignore such obvious facts? Because Judiciary Democrats conduct oversight via press release. Their investigation into 81 Trump associates has yielded not the dividends they were looking for. After 1 month, the only revelation is something we knew already. They've embarrassed themselves by prejudging conclusions that the president obstructed justice. Now we've acknowledged the next stop in the grinding political axis in the governing. What is amazing here is despite the fact nearly 30 others have received Chairman letter have not responded at all, and despite everything going on. So the message is clear. Here's what's happening. If you cooperate with this committee, you will get a subpoena. If you ignore it, Democrats will return the favor. This seems like a counterintuitive way to conduct oversight, but it does sound familiar. Remember the acting Attorney General, Mr. Whitaker, who agreed to come, who agreed to sit here, and was yet rewarded with a subpoena? And oh, by the way, before he ever got here, we caved, we just did away with the subpoena. I'm not sure the purpose of the subpoena with this majority. It seems to be we want to use it because it sounds good, but yet when it comes down, we don't want to use it, and now we're back at it again. Because this is all preemptive. 5 of the people who have been actually listed in this for subpoenas today have been cooperating or have given advice to this committee, but have never really been followed up on. And what they have said is, we're helping, but you're now giving us a subpoena. And as far as the Attorney General's gone, he said, I'm giving you the Mueller report. I'm giving it to you, as I should under regulations. But undoubtedly, that's not enough. Undoubtedly, that doesn't make enough press releases. So I guess what we do is we put people's names on a press release. We tell them that we're going to subpoena them now, although they've actually already cooperated. You know, it reminds me of what I'm having here, and I've made this comment many times. I respect my chairman, but we just disagree on this, and that's the way that it'll be, and that's the way we're going to have. But it reminds me of the old guys back in my hometown when they wanted to go fishing and nothing was biting. They just take a big fishing trip and go out, nothing was biting, and one day this old guy just got tired of it. Instead of catching anything the way he should, he just reaches in his back pocket and pulls out a piece of dynamite and throws it in the pond. I can't find anything, so I'm just going to blow up everything and maybe something will come to the top. This committee is better than this. This committee can do this better. Why are we here today doing preemptive subpoenas? Because we're going to be out for a while. We're not going to be here for a while, and we need to keep the story rolling. The story rolling is there's some innuendo, there's some possibilities that may be in this report, but we can't wait to see it. Unfortunately, what will happen, my friends, is this. Christmas will come again. They opened a present that they thought early nothing was there. Now they're dying to open another president. At the end of the day, this president and what the report of the Mueller Convention said was no collusion. No obstruction. And when we understand that, when we move forward with that, if we can't get what we want, we'll try and try again. Maybe that's the new theme of this committee. The little train that kept looking for something that says, I'll try, and I'll try, and I'll try. But at the end of the day, the president's still the president. The economy is still moving forward. The regulations that we put in place are there. And at this point in time, the Attorney General, although he has been smeared repeatedly, is doing exactly what the regulation says. And for that, congratulations, Mr. Attorney General. You get a subpoena. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Without objection, all other opening statements will be included in the record. I now